Hi there everyone. Before we begin this episode, I just want to apologize because I'm a little bit hoarse, so I'm going to be a little bit raspy all throughout this episode. But don't worry, I'm not sick. I actually have a very good excuse. I found an arcade by me that had Pokken, so I spent the last 72 hours screaming with joy. Don't look at me like that's not a valid excuse. If you guys have been watching my channel for a while, then you know that I have been looking forward to Pokken, the new Pokemon fighting game made by the people who make Tekken, and oh my god, I just got that! Okay, sorry, focus. I've been looking forward to Pokken for a long time, and it has finally started showing up in arcades in America. One of them popped up at the Dave & Buster's nearby me, so I got a chance to go and play it, and after several quarters later, I am now ready to do my review of it. Now, just to clarify something, this game is coming in 2016 to the Wii U, and when it does come out on the Wii U, I will do another review for that one, because that one will indeed be very different from the arcade version for reasons that I will explain in a moment. But this is just what I could gather from the arcade version. And because it's the arcade version, I couldn't sit down and master every single character. Although, if you guys know me in fighting games, I wouldn't be able to master every single character anyways. But I didn't get to spend unlimited time with them to learn all their moves, but I did get to play as every single character. I did get to fight against every single character. I fought against the machine, I fought against other people. So I do have an idea of how this game plays, and it plays pretty darn well. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now at first glance, there isn't that much in this game that makes it different from every single other fighting game out there. Other than that it has Pokemon in it. Which in all honesty is all that I need to buy a video game. But it does share a lot of similarities with pretty much every single other fighting game out there. There's a charge super meter. Once it hits its max, you get to pull off your special moves. You have a little assist guy that you can bring in. It's best 2 out of 3. However, there are ways that it executes these that are very different. For example, in most fighting games you have a super meter, and when your super meter hits its max, you get to pull off your super move. In this one, you have a synergy meter is what they call it, and when it hits its max, you can pull off a synergy burst. And what this means is that your character actually transforms for a limited amount of time into a more powerful form. Like, for example, if you're playing as a Pokemon who can actually go into a Mega Evolution, that's what they do. If you're playing as one that doesn't Mega Evolve, they get basically some kind of a charge power. Like, for example, Weavile gets ice powers added to all of its attacks and its range is increased. So every single one of them gets their own unique little advantage when they go into their Synergy Burst. And one of the things that I really like about this is that when you're in your Synergy Burst form, you can then pull off your Burst Attack, which is your big, special, super mega move. And in most fighting games that let you transform into a more powerful state, the moment that you pull off your Mega Attack, you revert back to normal. In this one, it doesn't happen like that. In fact, it doesn't even really deplete your synergy meter at all. You just get to do it once. You can choose at any time that you want to do it. You can do it as soon as you transform. You can wait until you're about to turn back to normal. You can do it at any time. I really dig that. It adds a whole new level to the gameplay and actually makes you that much more threatening when you're in your synergy burst mode. And as I mentioned, you also have support characters who you can call in to help you battle, and they each come in for one move, and that move varies depending on who you choose. Some of them will boost your own stats, some of them will launch an attack of their own, some of them will cancel your opponent's attacks, so they're each useful in different situations. And what I like about this is that this is something that I have seen in other games before, however I've never seen it done like this. For starters, in this one, you get to pick 2 support characters, and then at the beginning of each match, you can choose which of those 2 you want to use. So basically, if you're going up against someone, you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to need this guy for the next match, you can then customize it in order to adapt. Also, it's not like you can only use your support character X number of times. No, as soon as the match begins, a clock starts ticking, and as soon as the clock goes all the way around, then you can summon out your support character. And once you do that, it depletes that and it starts ticking again. I like this because it makes you realize, oh, I can't just keep spamming this as many times. I have to think about when I'm going to use it. That's pretty smart to me. And here's one of my favorite things about this game, and it's what makes this game very unique among fighting games. Most fighting games can be divided into 2D fighters or 3D fighters. This game is both. This game will start you off and you're both on a two-dimensional field and you're going at each other, but when you hit your opponent with a big enough combo, you'll send them flying, and then all of a sudden the camera will zoom out and it shows the entire field, and now you're both just running around, and when it pulls out and shows that massive landscape that you're battling on, it really does give you a sense that you are just charging around this giant arena and you really have full maneuverability around it. It looks amazing when that happens. And of course, when you're fighting in 3D, you can go back to 2D by starting a combo with your opponent. But one of the things that I really enjoyed about this is that it's a completely different style of gameplay when you're in 2D and when you're in 3D. However, it's not so different that it feels like a completely different game. It flows very naturally. Like for instance, when you're on the 2D plane, forward is forward and up is nothing. Up does nothing at all. But when you are on the 3D plane, up is now forward and forward is now right. Right? That makes sense? I got myself confused on that one. So yeah, I just gotta say, I am really impressed with how smooth they were able to make the combat in this game and how it switches from 2D to 3D and back again, and yet they do it in a way that never once makes you, the player, stop and go, oh jeez, okay, how do the controls work now? Oh, because it's a completely different game all of a sudden, how do I do this? No, they trust that you understand this, and the amazing thing is, you do. I'm an idiot when it comes to fighting games, and even I understood how to do it. Now, let's go into the characters themselves, and first thing I gotta say is, a lot of people out there are like, I don't know if this is gonna be enough characters to satisfy me. It won't be. I was literally able to play through each of these guys rapid fire in one evening, and by the end of it I was like, I want more guys. This is not enough. Especially your assist guys, they need way more assist guys. You've only got 6 of them. You are going to use them all up. Although, if we can just speak honestly here, it makes sense why there aren't more characters in here because this is the beta version. This is not the final product. The final product is the home console version. The arcade is just the test version. In fact, this is so the test version that as soon as I got done playing it tonight, I kid you not, a guy from Nintendo was standing there with a clipboard and actually went, yeah, I just have a couple of questions for you. What were the pros? What were the cons? Do you play fighting games normally? Do you like Pokemon normally? What would you change about this game? What would you want to see more of in this game? And thank you. So yes, there aren't that many characters here, but the characters that are here are totally unique. They did an amazing job giving every single one of these characters their own unique feel. They all fight very differently, and they all fight in ways that are very true to what the character is. For example, Weavile, who I will be honest with you is one of the most fun ones to play as, is super fast, is super quick, it runs around the stage very quickly, it dodges more easily than any of the other characters. In fact, it is very tricky with the way that it moves too. Like for instance, if you jump up and then press down with its special attack button, it forms an icicle in the air, and I was like, okay, the icicle is going to fall. But no, it just hovered there. And then I jumped off it and went flying across the room, and I was like, oh, that is like your air jump. They gave you a double jump in this game. That is awesome. Or Gengar, who is also a lot of fun to play as. Gengar is a trickster. And I love that because if you take one look at Gengar, you know he's a trickster. They actually thought that through when they designed the way he moves. And what I mean by this is that whenever Gengar dashes left or right, he goes intangible, so you can't hit him, which is great when you are fighting guys with projectiles. And he also has a lot of like counter attacks where if you try and hit him, he'll then bounce up behind you and smack you around, or when he tries to throw you, he'll actually just suck off and absorb some of your life. That is really cool. They actually thought out how a trickster would fight in this game. However, they did give him some drawbacks to make sure he wasn't too powerful. They did a very good job balancing him. For example, yeah, he's got all those tricky moves, but he takes a while to wind up his attacks. He's a little bit slower with his attacks than the other characters. Or Machamp. Machamp is incredibly strong, probably the strongest one in the game. He is also the slowest one in the game, so they did a good job balancing him. They did a great job with all these characters. Except Blaziken. Holy cow, Blaziken is OP. Blaziken is crazy strong. I was playing a match with Blaziken against a Pikachu. I literally took out half its life with one combo attack and then smacked it so hard it flew into the invisible barrier and bounced off and then literally came flying down behind me like Team Rocket blasting off into the sunset and then let out the saddest little Pika. It was so bad I felt terrible about it. I was like, no, I don't want to. Blaziken's like this tall, Pikachu's like this. That's unfair, totally. Blaziken is OP, guys. For the love of God, don't play as him. It's unfair to everyone. Suikoden is also a little bit OP. I gotta throw that out there too, because Suikoden, he moves a little bit oddly, so it's not that easy to control him, so I'll give him that. But his basic super move is a hydro pump that just shoots out this giant cannon of water. That's his basic, like, hit one button attack, okay? That's a little bit too strong. Pull back on that. But aside from those two characters, I did find all the other characters to be very evenly balanced. Translation: look forward to seeing everyone playing as nothing but Blaziken and Suikoden. But while I'm nitpicking a couple of the problems with this one, it's not really a problem because I understand it's not what this game was meant to be. However, I definitely had a misconception when I went in to play this game, which is that I thought, okay, it's an arcade fighting game. It's going to be like every single other arcade fighting game out there, where you challenge the ladder of opponents, and then you go up to fight the boss, and other people can come up and challenge you whenever they want. No. With this game, you have to play against someone else. Now what I mean by this is that when you start, when you insert your little Dave & Buster's card in there and it takes your cash out, it will then start a countdown clock. And it will give you 60 seconds for someone else to sit at the machine right next to you. If they don't sit next to you within that 60 seconds, you will play against the computer. The computer is insanely weak. The computer is super easy to take down. Almost all my matches were perfect against the computer, okay? And I suck at games. So clearly, it's the computer's fault. I didn't just magically become good overnight. This was not the fighting game I had been waiting my life for. No, the computer is just crazy easy. And it's kind of cool at first because you're like, all right, yeah, I'm getting some practice in. But after about the 12th match, you're like, I'm just kind of fighting a punching bag here, okay? Seriously, there was a time in which I was fighting the computer, and I just took my hands off the controls because I wanted to see how strong it was. And their little Weebow kept fighting my Machamp, and literally, like, the life was just like, You can't even see how far I'm moving my fingers apart. That's how little damage the computer does to you when you fight it. And once again, I understand the entire idea of this is to fight other living human beings. I'm just saying, Nintendo, you gotta put a story mode or a ladder and at least some boss fights into this when it comes to the Wii U. You gotta do that. Also, Nintendo, when you bring this to the Wii U, if you do give it a boss fight, don't make it Mewtwo. I'm begging you, do not make it Mewtwo. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a Mewtwo hater. Mewtwo's a great character, great Pokemon, everybody loves Mewtwo. He's been in too much stuff. He's in everything, okay? Whenever you need a boss Pokemon to fight, it's always freaking Mewtwo. There are other guys out there you can fight. Darkrai is sitting right there. He's the living embodiment of nightmares. For crying out loud, let us fight Darkrai for once. Mewtwo has had his time. But okay, sorry, side rant over. Back to what it's like to play this in the arcade. Another little nitpick that I had, is that in most fighting arcade games, you put in your money, and then you start playing, and you play until you lose. Not in this game. In this one, you both sit down, you both put in your money, and then win or lose, that's it. One match, that's it. Get to the back of the line, next people come up, put in their money. That's how it works. Now, I want you to think about what this is like at a day in which you're pretty much the only person at the arcade, and nobody around wants to play Pokken, like it was for me the first time that I went to play this game. You're gonna find yourself just sitting there, putting in money every single time, and every single time you put in money, you are going to have to wait 60 seconds as you just stare at a clock ticking down. That is insanely boring. I understand what you're going for here, Nintendo, but for the love of God, just put a skip button on there. Just put a no, I know no one is going to sit down in the chair next to me button, so just let me fight the computer because I want to get experience button. Just put that in there. Hit X, done, move along. But as I said, those were nitpicks about it, and I say they're nitpicks because that's not what this game is intended for. The entire point of this game is to play against other living human beings. And when you play against other human beings, it's actually a lot of fun. I played against multiple other people, and some of them kicked my butt, some of them didn't. They all kicked my butt. They all kicked my butt. But even though I got my butt kicked, I had so much fun. And one of the reasons I found it so fun is because this is a very easy game to learn. It is. People who had never played this game sat down for the first time and they were able to just pick it up like that. They might not have known all the special combos because trust me, I saw people there who had played this game multiple times and learned special combos that no one else knew about. So there is that. You can get really detailed with the fighting in this. So for all you die-hard fighting game fans, there's that. You can look forward to that. But for all the casual fighting game fans out there like me, yeah, you can just pick it up and play. It works so well. In fact, the first time I got to play this game, I got to play it pretty much as soon as they installed it. Like, I lucked out and just happened to stumble in there on the day that they put it up before anyone else knew it was there. Meaning that A, I got a lot of practice time, but B, it also means that all the instructions were in Japanese. They did not yet have any English instructions. When I went back there tonight to try it again, A, there was a massive line full of people, but B, they also were now handing out these actual English translated instructions on how to play the game, which were super helpful, but I didn't really need it that much because just playing it by myself, a couple of rounds, I was able to pick up most of the moves. It is that easy to understand. And I will just end by saying this because I know that there are a lot of Pokemon fans out there who aren't really fighting game fans who are like, well, I kind of want to play it, but I don't know if there's going to be enough stuff in there just for me. There is crazy fan service in this game. You've probably all seen the different stages that they have in this game by now, but when you start playing, you see so much stuff in the background that you had no idea was there. It is impossible to catch all the little Easter eggs that they put in every single stage. They were so detailed with this. In fact, I have heard multiple times people saying, why don't they just make a Pokemon game for the Wii U? Why don't they just make them for their home consoles rather than for the portable consoles? And I've always been on team portable console. I've always been like, no, Pokemon is about going out and exploring. That's why it's good to have it on a portable system. Plus, you know, the little creatures, we're used to them on the little portable system. It works like that. However, after seeing this game, I instantly switched over to team home console because if they could make a Pokemon game in which you go from town to town and each of the towns look like that, I want that. I definitely want that because every single town is alive with Pokemon. They are everywhere. It is a Pokemon fan's dream. I will not spoil all the different Easter eggs that I found in this game because I would be here all night doing that. However, I will say my favorite one was when you are fighting in the middle of a city and there is a traffic light behind you. I watched that traffic light multiple times and it wasn't until like the third time I saw it that I noticed there's a spider web on that. And there's a little tiny Joltik crawling around there. And for everybody who knows, Joltik is one of the smallest Pokemon out there. They actually make it so small, you have to squint your eyes to see it. They actually went, we're going to take the time to put in here a Pokemon Easter egg that is so small, most people aren't gonna see it. That is the level of dedication that went into the level designs of this. I am impressed. So, what's the end verdict? Well, even though I got my butt kicked every single time that I played this game, I still had fun. I had fun every single time that I played this game. In fact, I had fun just watching other people play this game. So, if there's an arcade around you that has a Pokken machine, and you have friends who are into Pokemon or into fighting games, bring them all along. Bring them along, have a party, have a good old time because this is so much fun. I highly recommend it to everyone, and I cannot wait for it to come to the Wii U. So, as always, I want to hear from you guys. If you have managed to find a Pokken game around you somewhere, A, share where that is in the comments because I'm sure everybody out there is looking to try and find one of these. But also, tell me what you thought about it. Did you have a good time? Did you enjoy it? Who was your favorite character to play as? Let me know all that and more in the comments down below. Also, if you like this video, I make fun, geeky videos about video games, comic books, movies, anything from the world of geekery every single week. And you can follow me by clicking that subscribe button right there. And you can also see more from me around the net by following me at Professor Thorgi on Twitter and Tumblr right there. And if you want to see some more stuff from me, I'll go ahead and put 2 videos up here. Here is my reaction to the Pokemon Go announcement, and here is my spontaneous top 10 amiibos I want to see made. It's just a fun, goofy list that I made on the spot while I was waiting in line to buy amiibos. Yes, I waited in line to buy amiibos. Don't look at me like that. I have money, I can do what I want with it. That's a weird note to end this on. Quick, play me off! Engineers who split off to create their own augmented reality mobile phone game, which is an entire sentence that will confuse old people, but listen, focus on this.
How about like a Navi amiibo?
That'd be way too tiny.
That would be like a little wall with wings.
It would be an amiibo as annoying as the character itself.
Her special ability would be annoying your enemies.
That should be an assist trophy in Smash Bros. And when you smash it, it just keeps popping up in the screen and blocking like your view, just going, hey,